Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the 10,000 Minute Experiment. And today's guest, we've got the one and only Chonda Pierce, who's one of the best-selling female comedians of all time. But I got to go on the road with Shonda, and I got to see a deeper side of this woman. And as much as she is hilarious and amazing, she's also got an incredible depth and profound insight. So get ready.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
So everybody, that was Chonda Pierce starting off the podcast. This is Tim Timmons, and to my left this time I've got Moy Donise.
Yes, hello. We switched seats.
We did switch seats because we're in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
A very
is that
different
going to
place.
throw y'all off?
It's a little weird. I feel
love
like
that you haven't. I love to be in my home turf. I have power.
No, yeah, we are definitely in a
We're in the penthouse.
we're in the penthouse right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it said in the elevator.
And that is Chris Cleveland
What's up?
to my hard right this time.
Hard right.
And then across from me, we've got Miss Chonda Pierce.
There you go.
Shonda, you spell your name funny.
Yeah, well, no, I
It's
don't.
a
I spell it correctly.
PH in the front.
The PH.
PHLONDA.
Yeah, Shonda.
What? Say that again.
Shonda.
So what do people call you?
Everything from Chandra, Chonda.
Yeah.
Always putting an R in there, and there is no R.
Yeah.
After 20-some years, I don't correct them. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. No, my nose is running.
Do you need,
Okay.
do you need something?
I'm fine. I just got a sleeve. But this is the best humbling thing of my career. I had this ceremony at my agency at the time was CAA.
Yep.
Which I thought meant Christian Artists Association. And I found out later there just really was a few Christians there.
Yeah.
And it's a massive agency. But anyway, they had this big party because I had gotten an award from the RIAA.
That feels right.
The
Just
people
keep saying
that
letters.
give
Yeah.
gold records. Anyway, it said as the most awarded female comic in history
Oh my gosh.
of all
Yeah.
secular and
Yeah, yeah.
everything. So I'm at the ceremony and I tell this man and I said, this is so hard to believe because there's Ellen DeGeneres and Whoopi.
Yeah.
And what about Joan Rivers? She was out for a long,
Yeah.
He goes, I know, we did the math twice because we've never heard of you.
That is so good. That's so good.
Isn't it good though? We're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's whose penthouse we're staying in right now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Top floor, baby.
We're in Ellen DeGeneres' penthouse right now.
Well,
yeah,
I
but
mean, it
it's
could
a
be.
penthouse in Ashland City.
It
Come on.
totally.
Let's
Oh,
put
Oh, we
it
saw
in
the co-op
perspective.
down the street.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. That's
Yeah,
exactly
this is
right.
awesome. This place is
Cody's
awesome out here.
Diner, you can see over there. And
Yes.
all you can see at night is the glowing McDonald's sign. So
Yeah, literally, there are probably 49 people that live in this town
that's exactly
But
right.
she lives in the
And
penthouse.
most of them are here.
Yes.
Yeah.
in this building.
under
yeah.
us, which is great, and we can
Love
see the
it.
river from here, which is pretty great. That's the
Nice.
Cumberland.
Now
correct?
that is beautiful. Yeah, you can get on a boat and go straight downtown Nashville right now.
We probably
Yeah.
will have to.
Takes
do
about
it.
Right after
25
this.
minutes.
Do you have a boat?
No, I know. I'm the only person that lives in a marina, and I don't have a boat. They always say the best day of your life is the day you get to buy a boat, and the second best
When you
day is
sell
the
it.
day you sell it.
Okay.
That's right.
I've heard that so many times. I don't want a boat.
Gosh.
If my husband was living, believe me, we'd have a boat. He loved fishing. I love fishing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of boat I want. Although I have been on some of those yachts out there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, you could live on them.
Yeah, those things seem pretty legit. We almost walked out there just for fun, just to
There's
yelling your
one-
name.
There's some friends of mine that have one over there. It's 3 bedrooms.
Oh my gosh.
Washer and a dryer and it's amazing. That's their boat. They just go hang every now and then on the weekends.
Yeah, well, let's call them, and we can do a podcast with them.
We could
That's
probably
exactly
do it.
right. That's
We're-
the
feels
only
right.
thing y'all are doing podcasts for is just
Yeah.
go around and see people's houses.
Yeah. We've already stolen
Hey,
a few
that
things.
might not be a bad idea. Yeah, we stole it.
Yeah, we just stole a few.
Trinkets.
It's fine.
Well,
Don't
your
worry
little
about it.
dog's real cute. We might steal that.
Oh no, you can't
No.
do that.
You
Yeah.
can steal my dog, 'cause I'd be fine
I need
with
that dog because my son comes and goes every now and then from
Yeah.
LA, and I know the times come. I can tell when he's antsy and he's ready to go. He's a 31-year-old man for
Yeah.
one thing, and so
But
I
your,
can
your
always
son or
my
your
son.
dog? Okay.
My dog is yeah.
Well,
not
and
that
in
old.
dog years, you never know.
I never know. His birthday's in July. His first birthday.
Okay.
My dog.
So he's 6.
So that
In
means
dog
he's
years,
7,
yeah.
right?
I
1
heard
year.
that they changed the dog years.
They
that They're
did?
more like 9 or something
Who's
now.
they?
Oh my gosh!
It's
the same people that. Never mind.
You know who.
Okay.
They're all
so-
over
I don't know how
Facebook.
We'll put
controversial
it
you
in
want
the
your
episode.
They're
podcast.
all over Facebook.
The
right now.
same people that said the National Guard is coming to put Trump back in the White House.
Same
Gosh, I
people
like
that
you so much.
I lived through all of that, y'all. I lived through all of that. I was on the Faith Coalition for the president.
Yeah.
And the only reason I said yes to the job so I could go to the White House, I'd
Yeah.
never been. And I went to the White House a lot. And I had dinner and I met the man
Yeah.
and all that. But he was flawed.
Yeah.
Like everybody else. I never did really drink all of the Kool-Aid. Just the little bit.
Just the
fancy
free
Kool-Aid.
stuff at the White House.
Just the free
Just a
stuff.
sample.
But talking about stealing trinkets, I remember I was at the Kennedy Center for something,
Yeah.
and when nobody was looking, they had this little refrigerator in there for the president and all that. I got everything has the presidential seal on it. I filled my purse up. It was like the mini bar at the Hyatt Regency.
On the
And
president,
I
yeah.
re-gifted so much of that Christmas, Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pivot. So I'm going to go. Can you guys wink? Can you wink one eye and hold the other one?
Do you
Do you know how to do that?
Say less.
like that?
That's pretty good.
But the other eye can't move.
Oh, it kind of
can't do it.
moves.
I can't do it.
I can.
You're gonna like really think about it.
One eye.
Chris, you look like you have a
Why are we
migraine.
doing that?
I was looking up the word wink because we're about to talk about God winks.
Oh, I know that guy.
What do you mean you know that guy?
The guy that does there's an actual thing called God winks. Do you know the one who, conjunction, junction, what's your
Yeah.
He wrote that.
So is it in a song?
He does
Is
this
God
whole...
wink in a song?
He has books and T-shirts and podcasts and everything. It's all about God winks. Do you know this?
No.
We've got to find him.
We do have to find
It's
a
really, he lives in the Hamptons or Martha's Vineyard.
He's doing well then.
He's killing
And
it.
his wife was a real
So did he
famous
coin
comic
Godwink?
person. Yes. It's a real huge website and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well,
a real,
then that's where it came
and then
from.
and he does his little reading and that is your God wink for the day.
Okay.
You got to look it
Well,
up.
we might need to call him
It
up.
seemed
Yeah.
a little frightening.
Yeah. Well,
And he'll never hear this, so I can say it. And we're
Yeah.
not real personal friends. I just met him and knew him. But I really liked his wife. What was her name? She was like a famous actress and comedian.
I have so many
Like
jokes
secular.
right now.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Because I think they're still alive.
And that's going
Wait
to be
till
so
they
great.
die, then we can talk about it.
Then we'll put this
It's
out
the
once they
Christian
die.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually looking up wink. Like,
Wink?
winking's kind of a weird thing. If I just wink at you, like, what's that mean?
At my age, you have something in your eye. Depends on which part we're
Yeah.
at, you know?
Yes. I mean, it's
Now,
either...
if it's sloppy wink,
Yes.
I'm like, oh, look, he's into me. Because he's drunk.
Yeah, he drunk. Like, I winked at my son the other day, and I was
Yeah.
like, that is... What are you
weird.
doing?
What
That
happened?
is so weird.
Well, if I was your son, I would be saying that too. Dad.
Well, I mean, it was just like a, hey, man. You know, and I'm like, what did I just do with my eye? And why did I just wink at my son? So in the 11th century was the first time... This is the whole reason for the podcast.
Someone winked.
It was actually written down. It was how you knew that the battle was about to begin.
Oh, it was the secret
It was
code.
a secret code in the 11th century. So apparently,
Well, now, I will say, back when I was married, and I was married a long time,
Okay.
we had our signals. You know, like time to leave. Well, we had that one, you know.
yeah. So the wink
Let's
has a
go in
little
the
noise in
closet,
it.
babe. Yeah, let's make this party interesting. And then we had the wink where, it's time to go, please. Please
Yeah.
get me out of here.
So
I feel like I get a whole double eye look, you know.
when she wants to French kiss,
Well,
No, when you're in
when
trouble. Yeah.
it's time to go. It's very direct.
it's like open eyes.
It's,
like,
it's an open eye.
get-
Yeah, there's no winking about it.
Yeah.
Direct eye contact.
Apparently, animals wink.
Shut up.
Yeah, I will not shut up. I will
I mean,
not shut
to,
up.
like, they wink,
So apparently,
like,
animals.
they flirt with each other.
No, what was it? It was like a predatorial. Like, gosh, I could have just made that word up.
I
just
think
as
that was
well.
a real word.
Which coined.
It's
Hey,
like,
hey, there was something. It was a wink and there was a blink that are somehow different.
wow. In animals.
Yeah. Anyways,
I've never seen my dogs wink at me.
Well,
that would be freaky weird.
think about it. And this could be a next bit for you, just a winking bit for you. So just use it. Just quote us.
No offense, but nah.
Okay,
Not holding my attention.
that feels
Can
great
you
for
see
me.
this? I'm going to walk out in front of 3,000 people tomorrow. Hey, let's talk about winking.
See, it feels right. It feels so
Oh,
right.
It just feels so good.
Okay, so this is a total stoop. That's stupid in French.
Stoop.
Way of jumping into today's topic. So we're talking about literally the God moment that we've been kind of talking through this past week. The God wink. So apparently this guy wrote a book.
You gotta look at it. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff about it.
Googling it.
Google
Yeah, you
that
have
guy.
to.
Has somebody ever said to you, man, that's such a God wink? Or that was such a God moment? And when you hear that, what do you think of?
When they say God wink, I feel a little. Man, I feel bad now. We've actually mentioned the man.
No, I think he's
I
doing
don't
great.
like God wink. I'm not a big fan of the phrase God moment.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
What do
I
people
hear,
mean? What do you think people mean when they're saying that?
I think they, to me, and I've said it before, something completely out of the ordinary that took you by surprise.
Yep.
And I've been surprised by God. You know, I grew up in church world, so it's always God blessed me today with this.
Right.
God did this, that.
Right.
And I remember hearing that so much that you would start wondering, well, what's wrong with me? Because I had to do my
Yeah,
homework.
that's right.
You know, or my car broke down. So I guess
Yeah.
God is not blessing me or he's mad at me. When you use that so much, it's just as you do anything. Too much salt will ruin your meal, you know? And so I think if we're not careful, we have made God so cheesy.
Yeah.
And I think if we have this God moment and this God moment, I think it constantly is like a rope in heaven. This is a weird,
Go.
it's like you're pulling him down to your level constantly. Just constantly pulling God down here to live like I live, to be in the middle of my life, to do my thing, to be in my moment, to fix my life, to bless me. And so you're constantly pulling him down to your level. And I say this in a respectful way. I think God could care less if I was, you know, I mean, I know he loves me.
No, come on, girl, keep going.
I just don't know that he is so active that I lost my hairbrush and 3 hours later I found it. Look, it was a God
It was a
moment.
God-
he knew
God
I
wink.
needed my
God
hairbrush.
wink.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
No, you're the idiot that forgot where you put it.
Yes.
You know, because God right now is in China. There's some starving children there who really need his attention. And I think we pull him down to our little tiny...
So good.
And maybe we need to. Maybe that makes it real to us. But then again, I think we're making God so much in our humanity. When he created us, he loved us, he set a plan in motion, he put gravity. So if I jump off the roof, I'm going to die.
Right.
You know, he got everything in motion. I just don't know if he was in me finding my hairbrush.
And part of the whole purpose of this podcast, actually,
Yes.
is saying we don't need to ask and invite God to come be with us in our little world. Like, we get to join him in everything that's going on that he's doing, that if my hairbrush is lost, he's with me in that moment. I mean, even
Right.
the practice this past week was I'm blessed, in a sense, and we've been kind of pushing at the word blessed,
Yeah.
saying, you know, when we think of the word blessed, it's exactly what you just said. It's like, I'm blessed because I just got a job. I'm blessed because this happened.
Right.
But was I not blessed yesterday when I didn't have a job?
Yeah.
When, you know.
Exactly.
All these things. So that's kind of what we're pointing into. And even
Interesting.
you in your story.
But even saying that, even saying what I just said about pulling God down,
Yeah.
I'm now remembering all my friends that are going to see this, and I'm going to get mail and email. Yes, he does care about your hairbrush. He did. He was in that moment to help you find your hairbrush. He does care if you get the vaccine.
Yes. And well, so in that, I would love to even jump into this a little bit.
Yeah.
That there's something there. Like, yes, he is in these moments. Like, God is. So if we need to
Right.
say, God, be with me, it's like, that's a dumb prayer to say, God, be with us right now as we do this. He already is.
We already invited him into our hearts.
Yeah, we get to walk with him in whatever he's doing. And if I
Right.
forgot my comb, then I get to actually do that. If I lost my job, I'm doing this with him. And am I not blessed when my job is lost when somebody passes away, which
Right.
we'll
Right.
jump into? I mean,
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, God is in all these moments, but for me to go, ooh, I got that parking spot. I was so blessed. That was a
Yes.
God
Right.
wink.
Yes.
And maybe it was. Maybe God did that because he does stuff. It just feels a little
But do
bit
you
trite.
think he has the time? Seriously.
I think he
so
has
he's
the time.
up there playing chess.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna move Shonda 2 spots so she can get that parking spot. I would like for him to be fixing what's going on in Iran and Israel right now, and I'll be fine with the no parking spot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that comes down to what we actually truly believe to be true about God.
Right.
Is he
Yep.
up somewhere, or is he always present, always at work?
Yeah.
Somehow doing all these things. And
I think we limit
Man,
the
this is a
capacity
deep
and the size of
podcast.
God some.
Do we do it?
I said I think we can limit God, and when we pull him down, we're actually putting him in a smaller
I
box.
totally agree.
Right.
So good.
So I read this thing this week that says, if it's not true everywhere, for everyone and everything, then it's not true. And I think when we think about God and think
Wow.
about blessing, like if it's not true for the person in Africa or the person in Iran or Iraq or wherever,
Then
where's
it's
this
not-
Ashley City or something?
Ashland City, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
The
Somewhere
mayor
in
will be
Tennessee.
buying a little
Yeah,
bit
that's
to welcome
right.
you here.
If it's not true for all of us, then it's not true. And
And don't you hate the statement, your truth? So that's your truth.
yeah, I think that means it's your perspective,
Right.
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's probably a better way
So-
to even hear that.
Right.
Yeah. So we all have perspective. We can all experience the same thing and walk away with different perspectives of it. But that doesn't change who God is.
Right.
Right.
So with your journey, so people talk to me about my cancer, and they're like, "That's your story." I'm like, "Well, cancer's not my story. That is the
And
stupidest
don't you
story
know,
ever."
you hate that it defines you. I hate that my testimony, or maybe that's the wrong word too. I would love to have a different story.
Yeah.
Right? But now this is what I have. And God does use, when I'm willing to tell my story,
Yeah.
I've seen encouragement that it is to people and
Yeah.
hope that it is to people. But there have been times that you recite it and you're on a stage and I'm really bitter about it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad this is helping you because it sucks
It
to be
sucks
me.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really, and
I mean,
that's true.
you did a whole movie about
That
your
my life
grief
sucks.
and
Yeah.
depression.
Laughing in
and-
the Dark
Yeah,
was a
Laughing in the Dark was
documentary.
about that.
Yeah, I did Laughing in the Dark, and we had no idea what we were doing. I got a manager who's out, and he managed Billy Crystal and David Letterman and Robin Williams. That's who, not David Letterman.
Yeah.
But anyway, his firm, and he was fascinated at the point that my career was so big at the time. This was 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago. But my career was so huge, and not a soul in Hollywood knew who I was.
Yeah.
Or I guess it was 7, 8 years ago. And he goes, we got to fix that. And so he would start sending out this guy that was working for us doing marketing with a camera. And let's just film her getting on stage and off stage and film these massive crowds. And, we were really going to set out to make an EPK. And then I was starting to going through some very difficult personal things. And like this, sitting around late at night, and you're wired, and you're coming down from the stage,
Yeah.
and you got your Pepsi or your glass of wine, whatever church you go to,
Yeah.
and you just unload. And all of a sudden, I think what they realized they had on their hands was some really good therapy sessions that
Yeah.
were going to turn into my shrink. But it turned out to be quite a story. And in the midst of making it, and David and I had separated. He was in rehab and trying to get sober. And
That's your husband.
my husband. And we had reconciled. It was just a sweet, ending. We thought, wow, this whole thing's turned out to be like walking through this path of addiction and,
Yeah. Wow.
and putting it together and being honest about it. And I
Right.
would weep and cry late at night after making all these people laugh. And my personal life was just terrible, and I was brutally honest about it all. And in that, I had a child that, stepped away from her family, and it just captured an honest thing. And it was really sweet, and we finished it, and David died. Wow. And so we had to go. We went back. We waited a few months and went back and filmed the ending and talked about that. Well, it's it's terrible filming. It's not done with a great camera in some places, you could tell. But that thing resonated, and we named it Laughing in the Dark because I had written a book called Laughing in the Dark about depression, and we released it out there, and it went nuts, And then we did another document, another one called Enough, about finding my new self as a widowed woman and dating again, and
Right.
finding out that you're really not enough
Yeah.
for the dating
gosh.
world, And so we did that. So I laugh now and go, I'm the only person who's alive that's had 3 documentaries about themselves, and I'm not dead yet. So I have no idea what you guys are going to put together when I'm dying.
Yes. Yeah.
But all that to say, there was some stuff in my story
Yeah.
that I chose. And this is a hard choice sometimes for people, and it's not for everybody. But I chose to begin to tell. I got so tired of the church life and world where you go to church and everybody's great and we are all blessed and we have our Sunday clothes
Right.
on. And I grew up with that. And God is good in our lives. And I knew that jerk sitting on that pew and he wasn't good that
Yeah,
week.
right.
You know, and as a preacher's kid, and my dad was a pastor and he was a terrible man. And a horrible husband and a abusive father, and would get up and preach. And I got so aggravated at that I think that little seed was deep down inside me when this 25-year-old woman began to start being funny somewhere. And I earned my way. You know, you couldn't do it the first night I did comedy. I just told everything. But I began to use increments of my story that not that I was ready to talk about. Well, some of it probably was that I was ready to talk about, but that my audience could handle.
Right.
Yeah.
And my 27 years of doing this, almost 30 years of doing this, has been a journey to slowly earn the right to tell you the stinking truth.
Wow.
My truth. You know, this is what I went through. So I have a hard time when I am oppressed or suppressed.
Yeah.
When they say, we're not comfortable with this aspect of your story, please don't tell it. You know, we're not comfortable with you taking antidepressants, so please don't talk about depression. We're not comfortable, you know, this, that, the other. And I tell all. And I don't know that that's right. When I die, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what worked. Now, I have a brother who told nothing, and he blew his life wide open. He was a pastor for 25 years, and his world crumbled. And he wrote a book called Failure and How I Achieved It.
Wow.
And a lot of it was he stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it till it bubbled out. And it bubbled out in other ways. It manifested itself in sex addiction, and it manifested itself, you know. I think the one thing that has saved my life is my job. And I've had wonderful counselors and shrinks tell me that.
Yeah.
I don't hold it in. And I don't know that, and I'm just saying, don't run and go tell everything in your life. You know, I don't know that this was the right way to go.
But for your process.
I've gotten paid in the midst of my process.
Yeah.
Now that,
Yes.
there's a God wink.
Yeah.
But that is, what other world could you be in but comedy? You know, if there is a God who's leading this and that and the other, and I like to believe that he is, he led me down a path, and I've had shrinks tell me that. When I was at Vanderbilt Psychiatric Hospital, I wanted to kill myself. And my doctor goes, have you ever really thanked God for your job? Because, man, that's given you an outlet.
Wow.
And I would vomit this stuff up. You know, and a lot of it was in sarcasm and funny.
Yeah.
And I'd be funny for an hour and a half on stage, 2, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
And then hit them with, here's my truth. Here's what I'm going through today. Here's what I'm grieving about. Or here's what happened to me when I was a kid. Here's what I learned about it. And I would always leave a truth.
Yeah.
And that's been my MO since the beginning of my career. It's the MO of every DVD I've ever recorded.
Yeah.
Every night I've ever, sold a ticket. That's what I do. And
You do that so well. I mean, when we were on the road together, that was something I loved about you, is that you used the gift of humor, and then all of a sudden you dropped deep down into some sorrow, and then you'd bring it right back up, but it still was there. I
it's
mean,
very psychological.
Yeah. But
It's
it
very
was,
schizophrenic night.
it was powerful.
It's the process of telling your story.
So in your story, we're rethinking the word blessed.
Yeah.
Repentance, the word actually means to rethink your thinking. So
Yeah.
we want to repent on the word blessed.
Blessed.
So in your journey so far, in the story, how have you seen yourself being blessed? If blessed is actually being...
Favored, made holy, made whole.
Wow.
Completed.
Yes, I see that.
So the whole story of being blessed is actually this journey towards being made whole
Yes.
and being
Yes.
completed, even in the midst of the crap and all
Right.
the sorrow and all the things. How do you look at your life, or do you, and say, okay, so how was I being blessed in this process?
I was sitting at a counselor's office, and I spent a lot of time on a lot of couches.
Yeah.
And when I didn't like one counselor, I'd find one that would agree with me.
Yeah.
No, but that does happen. I wanted a counselor that didn't just throw out the next verse.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly, I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was trying to get well, at this place through my depression. And I discovered in the stuffing of a lot of aspects of my story is where the depression started bubbling out. I always say your body will take care of itself. So wouldn't you like your mind to cooperate first? Then it's not so hard on the rest of your body.
Yeah.
I was in rehab, and I was talking about this aspect of miracles. And I said, I've never seen one. You know, and people would always say, oh, you're so blessed to have a dad like you have. Okay, well, he broke my arm.
Right.
He had an affair at every church he ever pastored. He was horrible to my mother. He eventually left town, you know, and these are the people that said, I'm so blessed to have that man for a daddy.
Yeah. What a convoluted idea
then
of blessed.
And how confusing it is for a teenage girl. Then my little sister was 15. She found out she had leukemia. It took 21 days, and it was a quick downhill journey. Her hair falling out, and the sores in her mouth from this horrible chemo and cobalt in 1978. They didn't know what to do. I had a big sister who got in her car, said, it's your time to fold the church bulletins. And 2.5 hours later, we get a call, she's dead. She was killed on her way to work. So both sisters gone. A brother who moved away, you know, as they should, and as he's older. I lived with my mother in a one-room apartment because no church is going to take care of the fallen woman whose pastor shamed the world, you know. And so we're out. I even had church leaders say, don't come here anymore. It's embarrassing to the denomination, you know. And so these are the things in my head, and I'm telling all this to this counselor, just unloading. And I said, I've never seen him. I thought God was going to heal my little sister, snap my dad back into reality, and he didn't. He didn't bring Charlotta back from the dead. She broke her neck immediately, and that was the end of that. My husband died. My mother died. And I'll choke up saying it. I've never seen the miraculous like that I've prayed for. I've begged and pleaded God to reconcile and heal this broken thing between one of my children and I. I've begged God, speak into Zachary's life so he knows that you're real, that he, you know, and I've never seen it.
Yeah.
And yet, I do feel quite blessed because that counselor looked at me and said, I think I'm looking at the miracle.
Yeah.
Part of it is your exercise you had us to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you've got.
Yep.
Do you think through all of it that it makes you more aware, even in this practice, breathe in because you're here? Yeah. Do you think it makes you more aware of what's going on, like more present in the moment? I know for me touring for years, it's like I've lost so much life.
Yes.
That I'll never get back.
Yes.
And when I'm home, I've lost so much life because I'm in my head thinking about the other life.
Yeah.
Some of these practices for me have been really grounding to say, just be here.
Right. I had to learn that the hard way, you know, because I lost a lot of life. If I'd known my husband was going to die when he was 53, I'd have gotten myself off the road, you know, a little more. We'd had a lot more sex, you know, and you know, if I'd known that was going to happen, but I didn't know that down the road, and I look back and see wasted times. And what's hard is someone will come to you and say, oh, you were in Tupelo and I gave my life to Christ and it changed my life forever. And then you feel like a jerk for going, I wanted to be home having sex with my husband, you know, while your life was being changed. And then you almost go through that time of being a little angry at the Lord. Couldn't you have used somebody else in Tupelo? You know,
he probably would have.
Yeah, and he would have. It was me that didn't say no. So, but I can't go back and fix that. But what you were saying, I think there's a concept we don't talk about enough in Christianity, and that is mindfulness. We always thought that was something that you did in yoga or New Age. But being present and in the moment, that's even found in Scripture. When Jesus talks about being calm in the midst of adversity, you know, the first time a counselor said, take a deep breath, hold it for a minute. I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of those new. I need to know what God is saying and all this. I don't need to be breathing deep and all this stuff. You know, we have done a disservice to the congregation by not talking about the concepts of mindfulness.
Yeah. I wonder if what we've done is created all of these things that we think we're supposed to do, our catchphrases or whatever. We'll just wait till heaven and God will make it right.
Yes, right.
And when all God has really been saying is, no, I've made all these moments for you.
Yeah.
And all of these moments are our moments. You just need to join me in them.
Yes.
And that's really what it's about.
That's really good. That's really good.
Such a game changer. These breathing prayers are really mindfulness prayers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's being mindful that my attention is on I'm in this moment with God. So even this past week of being blessed because you're here, I'm here with you, we're in this together, is a mindfulness prayer.
Right. It's funny. I remember sitting in a hotel lobby and a guy named Reuben Welch, he wrote a book called...
Godwink?
Maybe it was like back in the day, like in the 80s, it was like a Christian who's a counselor. It's like James Dobson.
Yeah.
We're so glad he's a Christian man. But there's a lot of psychological stuff that was going on that the church was rebelling about, Oh, focus on the family's gone too far now. They're talking about counselors.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you should hear his. I'm blessed to be friends with them, and so I get to hear their stories. When Focus on the Family first started out, they're like, "What? Christian counseling?
Yeah.
What do you mean?"
Yeah.
But all that to say, I was in this hotel lobby, and I was green and new at what I do, and I thought, this guy's a famous shrink, and yet he's a born-again Christian. When I get a minute, I'm going to tell him my story.
Yeah.
And I sat down in that Christian lobby. We were waiting for the shuttle to the airport. I mean, in that hotel lobby
No,
with this
right.
big famous Christian shrink, and I just told him, unloaded about like what I do to you guys. And I was saying, my sisters died, and my dad left, and, my mom died, and I don't know why God did all that. And I've been asking God for reasons, and he doesn't give me any reason. And I just don't understand why my life turned out like it did, And he gets up, gets his briefcase because he was trying to read his paper,
Right.
And the shuttle came to take us to the airport, and he goes, wow, well, stuff happens. And he walks off. And I used to say all the time to crowds going, and I could have got that on a bumper sticker.
Right.
And it
Right.
didn't say
But
stuff.
at least he didn't charge you $250.
And he didn't, and I was like, really? That's all you've got? I was like mad. I mean, you should have some answers for me. And we got in the shuttle. We got to the airport. We got in the line. I was going to American Airlines. He was going to something else, Delta, like, good to meet you at this conference. And I said, well, it's been nice meeting you. And I was like so disappointed in him as a human being.
Yeah.
And he shook my hand and he goes, now let me explain. Sometimes you get in your car, and if you drive a little too fast, there's gravity, and you'll hydroplane onto the path of an oncoming vehicle. And if you don't have a seatbelt on, you might get hit and you could die. Sometimes, I don't know if it's because of the contaminants in our air, the preservatives in our food, I'm not sure why, but sometimes our bodies just don't react well to our environment, and something begins to grow, and they call it cancer. And if it's not taken care of by a medical team, or if you don't get the right medicine, you'll die. Can't figure it out. Stuff happens. Yeah. Now it's what you do with that stuff. I thought that was the most honest, most powerful Christian I had ever talked to in my life.
Right.
To just say it truthfully. Because we're looking for this. I want to buy the prayer cloth.
Right.
I want to send my $15
Jabez,
in.
yep.
I've asked God to help me win the lottery because I will open more branches, counseling centers, and I will have more people at the farm. Yeah. I should be allowed to have that money. And it doesn't happen. I should be as big as Michael W. Smith. I can sing, you know what I mean? And it doesn't happen. And so why? Just stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's back to that God puts it in. So does that mean Michael W. Smith is blessed more than me?
Right.
Nope. It just, this is his stuff.
Yeah.
And and that's his path.
In the way that God is actually forming Michael in this season, he's blessing him by making him more whole in this season, whatever that looks like.
Right.
You are being blessed because you're made whole in these moments.
Right.
I mean, that's the gift, is we are with him no matter what. He is with us no matter what. In this moment, I am blessed, and it's not something that's happened. I love it. Thank you so much.
That's good stuff.
So good. Thank you.
Y'all have really funny podcasts. This has been so much fun.
Crying.
All right, so this is 10,000 questions.
Really? This is just questions to me?
Yeah.
I feel horrible that y'all didn't talk enough.
No, it's so great. It's so great. What is one food you dislike?
Hominy grits.
Really?
But
guess.
hominy grits, I can tell you that right off the bat. I've eaten snake, frogs. I love onions, but hominy grits.
That was quick.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Me either.
Really?
No. Well, I didn't even know what a grit was.
I don't know what a hominy grit is, but
Grits,
I've had grits.
I love grits. Hominy is like
The little.
they're little puff.
Uh-huh.
It's like cheese puffs
Yeah,
before
I know what
they
hominy
became
is.
a cheese puff.
I use it in soups.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah,
hominy.
like
now maybe
pozole.
that would
Pozole.
work.
Oh, it's so good.
I never had it too.
Okay, so what is one of the things that you'd put on your bucket list?
You know, it's so funny. Maybe it's death puts a lot of things in perspective. Bucket list.
Doesn't do something for
Bucket
you.
list just doesn't do it for me because it's just gonna. You know, this is what you do. I quit setting myself up for failure, so I don't even do a bucket list. You know, I used to always say when I turn 50, I'm gonna jump out of an airplane, and then
Did you do it?
no. I turned 50 and was smart.
Bush Senior would jump out of a
an airplane.
plane every like
would
5
parachute.
year or 10 years,
I
something
think
like
the
that.
last time he was 80.
80.
Oh
He was up
my
like
gosh.
just a year or two before he
Yeah.
died. Yeah.
Okay.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Learn something new every day. So what annoys you?
Podcast that has a list of questions to answer. What annoys me? Drunks. Just
That's loaded.
public drunkenness.
Okay.
And maybe that's because I had a husband who struggled with
Right.
alcohol, and I see that, and I go, "You're ruining. There's a family somewhere tonight,
Right.
worried about
That's
you."
what you're seeing. That's what you're
That's
hearing.
what I see, and it could be that guy. Maybe he's taking a medicine for his sore foot, and it didn't mix well with the one beer that he had, and
Right.
you know, and so. I know there's a lot of stories behind those drunk people, but I always want to go, man, you're just
Yeah.
that. Because I'm like, I would like to do that.
Totally.
And it's not like I never have,
Right.
you know,
Right,
and
right.
I've never been undisciplined and,
Yeah.
you know, taken something too far. But fat shaming, that annoys me. It's when someone dictates to you how you're supposed to look.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
I didn't realize I had that annoyance until I tried to get online dating. And being asked out right now has nothing to do with what I've worked hard to accomplish, of how clever and funny I can
Who
be.
you are.
It is that picture on a screen, and I get nothing.
Yeah.
My inbox is crickets. And the teaching that came out of it was, well, I
blessing
need to
that
be a
came out
little
of it.
humble.
Yeah.
Probably the blessing
Yeah, I mean,
is, look, a mass murderer didn't ask me out and kill me and bury me under his double wide. So isn't God good? I'd like to have the meal for at
Right,
least,
right,
you
right,
know.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I'm 61. I don't date. And people go, oh, you decided not to date. I go, no, no one calls.
Yeah, right.
I did have 1 or 2 dates, and then right before we leave, can I have a selfie? Because I can't wait to tell my friends I took out Chonda Pierce.
Oh, my
good.
gosh.
I think
Were they
so.
good meals at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Not-
God for that.
Hominy grits.
Most of
Not
it.
how many grits. Yeah.
Yeah, but most of it's Dutch because they can't even afford that, you know.
Ah.
But anyway, dating. I always tell people, hang on to your women because there's nothing out there, guys. And there's, you know, and I say that to women, hang on to your
Yeah.
man, make it work.
Yeah.
You know,
My
give
wife
him a
has put up with
makeover.
me this long.
Okay, so what confuses you?
Me. Probably I confuse me more than anybody.
Yeah.
Here's what confuses me. I have a friend who texts me that I truly believe in, who's been a great spiritual mentor to me, but now I'm going to be in sin if I take the vaccine.
That's confusing.
And God told her.
Yeah.
The people that say that to me, God said, I need to tell you this. And I have a lot of that in my life.
Yeah.
And God, and sometimes when that happens, I get this little quicken in my spirit going, oh my gosh, I received that because that was so right what I needed to hear. And then sometimes my spirit goes, so what you're saying is my sister-in-law who took the vaccine is now out of God's will.
Yeah. She gone.
She's in messed. Well, she didn't know, so she, you know. So there's always that excuse.
What would you put on a t-shirt?
I mean, I have the one I love Jesus, but I cuss a little.
Yeah.
And then I have the other T-shirts. I love Jesus, but I drink a little.
Yeah.
I have those T-shirts.
I already have those. That's like bucket list. You've already
I
done
already
that.
have the T-shirts I would want. You remember when they came out, Jesus is the real thing, and they just totally ripped off the Coca-Cola shirt.
Oh.
I do a whole bit about our Jesus stuff.
Okay.
How do you explain to a non-believer resurrection eggs or testaments? I mean,
Yeah.
we have materialized Jesus.
No fear. KNW.
No fear.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
My confession, I took all of my T-shirts that I had like that onto a mission trip to Guatemala,
And
and then I donated them.
All Although, one of my favorite.
That's
lot
not
of
helpful at all. That is the
Guatemalans
worst mission.
with no fear t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shonda, thank you for doing this. Thanks for letting us in your house. Thank you.
I'll cut this shirt up in little pieces and sell it for $10,000 a piece.
By the way, she just said cut this shirt up into little pieces, just to enunciate. Okay, so we're jumping into this next section, and before we do that, would you just remember to even rate this show, or like it somewhere, or share it with some people? It's been so fun to hear some of your responses, so please keep those coming. If you want to get the text messages, just go to 10,000minutes.com, 10,000minutes.com, and get more information. I think you're going to be pretty challenged by this next part. Okay, well, we're back.
Hey.
Back at it.
And Tim Timmons.
Oh, I'm Chris.
Stars go
I
dim.
came in so excited that it freaked me out.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I don't want to talk again.
Hey, we need to talk about that narrative.
I know. It's bad.
Yeah, man.
I'm here and I'm
Listen,
happy.
stars go dim, but Chris shines.
Yeah,
okay,
Chris
I need
shines.
you
Oh my
to
gosh,
bring it out.
guys.
Hey, come in with that energy again.
Hey,
man.
hey, guys.
Buddy.
It's Chris.
It's so good
It's
to see
me, guys.
It's me.
Yeah, I don't pull back.
Yeah.
Be you,
Let me
Chris.
take my shirt off, or
Well, that's already happening, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So this one time. Okay, so Chonda Pierce, that lady's awesome.
Amazing.
she's been through so much.
Yeah, Shonda's been through a whole bunch.
She
Yeah.
has, and she still has great perspective.
I mean, I guess that's why she's written books
Yeah,
on that whole story and why there's like a movie being made. But
could be.
you know what I love about Shonda is that she's totally in process.
I was just going to say that she's still processing.
Yeah.
Which I think is where we should always be.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
It's the most beautiful part is when
Yeah.
we're that.
I also like that
Yeah.
she wasn't afraid to process it out loud.
Gosh.
So there's so
true.
many of us that are afraid to like bring that out into the open, and she wasn't at all.
Yeah.
especially grief. I think grief makes people feel uncomfortable. You don't want to burden them. But to see someone still trying to figure out their life with grief
Yeah.
made me feel really seen.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was like,
she
I'm
like
there.
she zeroed in on you, just
Yeah.
FYI, during that thing.
Which I was like, how do you even know?
Well, I think you had mentioned your brother at
Okay.
some point,
Yeah.
and she like zeroed in on you. Like
Yeah.
she was talking about grief
just
and like
knew.
stared at you.
Which tempted to say God moment. But I was like, man, this is hello?
Well, Shonda winked at you, so maybe
it
that
was a Shonda wink.
Yeah.
I was like,
Shonda wink.
whoa. It made me feel less alone.
Yeah.
And maybe it made her feel less alone, but I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
relate with that. There are still parts of my story that I'm like, where's the healing? Or where's the point of
Yeah.
it all?
Yep.
You know? And like that acceptance stage, I think we run to it with anything in life. We want to find out the why, and we skip over all the other hows, when, where, with who, you know? And I think there's a beauty of like, I'm not going to run to name why this happened. I'm still going to process how I feel about it.
Wow.
How I showed up today with it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is healing me. Yeah, it was a great time with Shonda.
Awesome, and her dog.
Her dog,
Her dog,
amazing.
it was like sitting on my head for a while. I feel like
Just welcoming you.
it's just in there.
Okay, so this next week, I'm excited about this one. I think I'll probably be excited about most of these. I'm excited. You know what? I'm excited about 80% of them.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. The 20% didn't make the cut, but 80% season 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Season 2's totally gonna suck.
No.
Okay, so this is the turning of us seeing ourselves as blessed.
Okay.
And now we're turning it outward. So this week, the practice is seeing others as #blessed. So what does that look like? A little sneak peek for next week. We have one of our great friends, Mike Erie, who is actually talking next week, but he said something that is so powerful that I thought it'd be helpful for us just to take a quick listen. It might shape our experiment for this next week.
Yeah.
So, Mike, how does this play when we're seeing somebody else as blessed?
Well, so often we will look at people, in Paul's words, from a worldly point of view. And so we will use, and what he means is just the status markers and circumstantial markers that are common to the way that we evaluate things as, you know, and what we call normal. So to look at somebody as blessed is to look beyond their circumstances, and it's to look beyond their outward appearance or their affiliations or labels.
Wow.
and to not only want to see divine favor upon them, but to act in ways that are congruent with its already existing in them. You know what I mean? So when I'm blessing my children, I'm calling something out that already exists. I'm not conveying something new. I'm seeing something and recognizing it. So I cultivate a radar. My prayer is that I would be awake enough to see the good, not the happy and not the positive, but the good in situations with other people, so that I'm able to draw attention to those things.
Wow.
Right? So it could be as simple as, hey, Moy, I really noticed that this was hard for you, and I'm so proud that you stepped into that. And it's just letting her know that she was seen and known, and literally you've bent your knee towards her to give her a gift of calling something out that's already true of her.
Wow. Wow.
Whoa.
I'm not conferring something that's absent. I'm calling forth something that's already there.
Okay, so what did you guys hear? What stood out?
Well, I reaffirmed that blessing is not about circumstances, and that includes people. It's not just blessing my mom because she's my mom. It's like seeing everyone as blessed, as made in the image of God.
Yeah.
Not just the ones I really like.
It's a little bit revolutionary if you really dig into this thing, because it redefines blessed again for us. It's not just like made whole. It's like what you are. I'm calling out who God made you to be. And I think if we can do that, my goodness, like, wow. I'm still processing.
So what was that powerful line that he said?
To bless others would be to call out what already is.
Woo. I mean, people, just think about how crazy that. I mean, he referred to his kids, and later in that podcast, you guys, it is so good, by the way. But and we're all still reeling from it. But to call out in somebody else what already exists, the Imago Dei that's already there, like that's really this gift that we're giving other people, even when they're not your favorite people on the planet. And the next week after that, we're actually getting into enemies. So just you don't have to go there. Let's just go to people that are kind of in your life right now, in your day to day, that don't necessarily have to be your enemies. But what would it look like for us to see others as blessed?
I think it comes back to us too. It's like, can we see,
like
it reframes that whole thing too. Who are we already?
Yes.
You know, and can we take that and then take it to other people? It's like, I am made in the image of God, and there's all these things that he made me to be, and so are you, and so are they. And, you know, it kind of reshapes that whole thing.
I'm going to take one step back, and this is, again, what we talk about in our walks in some ways, like in a roundabout way, that it starts with who is God.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, it's really starting with, like, what's the real nature? What do we truly believe to be true about this God? And not just in our theology, but our lives, how that's lived out. And then how does that shape how we see ourselves?
Yep.
Then now that says, how do we see other people with that same lens?
Yeah.
Right.
It also makes me think of what Susie said in the last episode, where she said, to be blessed is a blessing to others. So like goes back to that idea of like, yes, if I'm accepting I am blessed and I am made in his image, that revelation alone will bless the way I interact and love people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so the idea of God always not just blessing like Abraham, but the generations to come, like all of that has to do with the overflow of acknowledging how you're blessed.
Yeah. And then you're able to bless. And people are just blessed because you are.
Yeah, because you're, ooh.
And then now you're all calling out who each other are. And it's just never stops. It's just chain reaction.
That is so wild. I think we'd be so much more intentional with our words and conversations and our time.
Wouldn't say as much dumb stuff as we do on this podcast.
I don't think that. I mean, it all has its place.
I will always say dumb things.
I don't know, me too.
That's not going to stop that.
It's like my initial reaction every time.
Just dumb things.
Someone's like, why did I say that?
No, lean into it, Christopher.
I'm going to.
Lean into it, Christopher.
I'm this far. There's no change.
We're good.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we've been understanding about the word blessed is that it's really this process of being made whole. So in other people, we're actually doing this as a reminder for them, and even a reminder for us that they are being made whole Like that's actually so helpful for me to know as I'm blessing my kids that I might say something that is not entirely true of how they live their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like everything I say right now is totally true, because they're dumb at some points. They're mean at some points. But I'm speaking into them life and who God is creating them to be. And that's actually my role as a parent, is to aim them to be who God created them to be and to do what they were created to do.
Right.
So it's going to be helpful for me to see people as they're also in process.
Yep.
They're being made blessed, made whole, as I'm calling that out in them.
Yep.
And it's not my job, it's God's job, actually.
Because we're affirming identity, right?
Yeah.
We're not rewarding their action.
Yeah, good.
That's right.
So good.
Gosh, you say things so much.
So good.
Just like how I wish I could say it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about
You got all the right adjectives, nouns.
that. Blesses me because I'm bilingual and I'm insecure all the time.
Oh, you got it down.
But I think of teaching. I've been teaching kids for a long time,
Yeah.
and I think about how in a lesson, I'm not trying to reward their ability today. I'm trying to affirm that they are a musician.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, when we do this, we're affirming identity, not so much withholding or giving more because of what someone's done today.
Yeah.
I know I don't do that all the time, even with myself.
Yeah.
So, and that's an identity thing.
Mm-hmm. I can't say it better.
I think it's more about affirming identity in people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
That's.
anyways, I just came up that by myself.
I know.
I am so,
What do you think?
So impressed. I'm not going to say it.
When you're serious, no hype,
Hey,
no
guys,
emotion.
I've been
What do you
thinking
think, Chris?
about this.
Yeah.
And the more that I think about it just like I think about my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't.
Just so you know, I'm going to put some music behind that. Now I've
Had the time of my life? Is that where we're going?
Ooh, 10,000
That's a terrible
10,000
song
melodies.
for
I like
that
it.
moment.
I like this game. You
10,000
just gotta
melodies?
Yeah, you just gotta finish the line.
Oh, wow.
I would be terrible at that. I can't remember my own songs.
Well, I can't either.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever done a full concert where every lyric was correct.
Never, ever.
Yeah, I used to do that with, what were they called? Piece of little clear paper,
The transparencies?
transparencies.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Do you remember those things you'd print out?
Upside down.
Yes.
And yeah. Oh,
Lord,
yeah.
I lift your name on high. Oh, crap. No, push it up. You came to me. Yeah.
No, we're gonna get striked. Do we have copyright?
That's so true. Dang it. Okay, so if you're all thinking right now, gosh, I need to see Tim and Chris and Moy as blessed because they're being made whole through their dumbness.
Yeah.
Through their dumbness.
Do appreciate you
God made
guys
us to be.
affirming our identity.
All right, so hey, and would you guys even let us know how this is going? Or if you want to text back. So if you want to get those texts, you just text 10K to 55678, 10K, 10K to 55678, the number. Or you go to 10,000minutes.com or go to starsgodim.com. Why not?
Drop a comment.
You may as well.
Yeah, go listen to this music coming out. But yeah, if you want to get involved,
Come by Tim's house.
Come by my house at this time every week.
867.
5309.
Yeah. Nashville.
You guys
How
are
many-
killing this
we
10,000
can do
melodies,
this.
okay? I'm telling you, it's a game.
Gosh, sorry about this past 20 minutes, everybody. This has been a real barn. I was going to say something else, but barn buster.
Yep.
Okay, so please rate, subscribe, rate, hug.
10 out of 10.
10 out
We
of
don't
10.
want to see your trash ratings.
I think it only goes to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 out. You know, it's
This
still
isn't a
10 out
Yelp
of 10.
page.
In your heart, give me an extra 5.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
Once again, Maui in 2022
It's on the books.
on the books.
In the books. One of those.
We're booking it.